Good, happy Saturday morning, February 15, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Saturday morning edition of Good Morning, New Hampshire. Rise and shine, everyone. Let's get this Saturday morning off to a good start. Sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee, and watch some Good Morning, New Hampshire. I hope you all enjoy this Saturday morning edition of Good Morning, New Hampshire. We're going to begin with local news first. 4 mump cases confirmed, 2 probable cases identified at UNH, officials say. Vaccines made available to friends of students. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Burst out the door when it matters most. For more than a decade, he's been right there, everywhere. And when American jobs are on the line, he leads the charge. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast, and we thank you.
University of New Hampshire is notifying its community through email that 4 students have mumps, and 2 more probably have it. Those 6, who the school says know each other well, came down with the virus over the past 2 weeks.
It's pretty scary, but I trust the school that they'll handle it the way they gotta handle it, so.
Mumps infects the salivary glands, causing them to swell. It also causes fever and muscle aches. It's spread by close contact.
Through sharing of cups and utensils, cigarettes, kissing.
Most recover in a week or 2, and it's preventable. But health officials say these 6 students were vaccinated. Dr. Benjamin Chan says its effectiveness can wear with age, and mumps outbreaks at college campuses have increased nationally since 2012.
Those close living environments create more opportunity for this mumps virus to be transmitted person to person or student to student.
Despite that, Chan says the risk to the rest of UNH's campus is low.
There is not broader community or campus-wide transmission or infection identified at this point.
State health leaders and the school are working together to find anyone else who's had close contact with the infected students. UNH says those people, including sorority members, are being encouraged to get a 3rd dose of the MMR vaccine.
I feel like they're going to take care of it. They've been on top of this thing, and especially since they're keeping us notified and stuff like that, just makes me feel better about it.
It can take 2 weeks or more for people to develop symptoms, so officials say it is likely that more students could test positive for mumps. Reporting live in Durham, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Arrest warrant issued for parolee convicted as accomplice in 1970 murder of Epsom police officer. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
To perform, and with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltade's Building Products, 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Begin tonight with breaking news: the search for a man who served nearly 2 decades in prison in connection with the murder of a police officer. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Griffith.
And I'm Monica Hernandez. Tonight, police announced Kevin Paul walked away from his sober living house last weekend, and his GPS bracelet is no longer working. Paul has been on parole since late last year. He was convicted as the accomplice to the shooting that killed Epsom police officer Jeremy Sharon in 1997. The man convicted of pulling the trigger is serving life in prison.
Now, police say Paul is known to have firearms and is considered dangerous. He's about 5'9", 165 pounds, with blue eyes, brown hair. Police say Paul should be in one of 3 cars: a 2015 white Ford Fusion, a 2012 silver Dodge Avenger, or a 2005 silver Honda Accord. All have Tennessee plates. If you have any information on where Paul may be, call Manchester Police at the number on your screen. It's also on our website and our mobile app.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into national news. In national news, Michael Avenatti found guilty. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Guilty verdict for Michael Avenatti, the lawyer who took on President Trump. Tonight, he's now facing decades behind bars in a separate case. Avenatti convicted of a plot to extort millions from Nike. He's best known for representing Stormy Daniels in her lawsuit against President Trump. But tonight, he is a convicted felon at ABC's Stephanie Ramos outside that New York City courtroom.
Tonight, an epic fall for Michael Avenatti, the brash celebrity attorney now facing years in prison after a federal jury found him guilty of trying to extort the apparel giant Nike. His attorney vowing to fight.
We have appellate rights that we're going to exercise, so you should expect an appeal.
But prosecutors calling Avenatti's scheme a, quote, old-fashioned shakedown, where he threatened to hurt Nike's reputation and stock price unless the company paid him up to $25 million. Avenatti told Nike he had a client, a coach, who had damaging information about alleged Nike payments to the families of young athletes. At trial, prosecutors playing wiretapped phone calls. Avenatti threatening in one call, "I'll go take $10 billion off your company's value. I'm not expletive around." But Nike had already turned to the FBI, and Avenatti was arrested. Through it all, proclaiming his innocence.
I will be fully exonerated and justice will be done.
Avenatti is still facing 2 trials for allegedly defrauding other clients out of millions of dollars, including the one who made him famous, adult film star Stormy Daniels. Avenatti allegedly pocketing $300,000 from her book advance. He's pleaded not guilty in both cases.
Stephanie Ramos with us live tonight outside federal court, and Stephanie, Avenatti remains in custody, we know, until sentencing. And as I mentioned there a moment ago, he now potentially faces decades behind bars.
That's right, David. Avenatti, in this case, could face up to 42 years in prison, and he still has those 2 other trials this spring. If also convicted in those cases, he could face some serious time. David.
Stephanie Ramos, our thanks to you as well.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into your weather. Arctic cold start for today. With more on that, let's take a listen to this weather video from meteorologist Haley LaPointe.
Meteorologist Haley LaPointe. Here's an update on your forecast. Frigid cold temperatures this morning, the coldest temperatures in many spots that we've had all winter so far, in the mid to even upper 20s below zero in the North Country, even in places as far south as Manchester, temperatures below zero. But we'll recover into the 20s and even close to 30 degrees by later this afternoon, about 26 in Concord, 28 degrees in Manchester, close to 30 in Nashua. Clear skies for the most part now and through much of the day. Later on in the afternoon, the batch of clouds you see to our west will start to move closer, and there are even a few snow showers way back to our northwest, which will move into northern New Hampshire overnight tonight and into early on Sunday. But this weekend, storm-free. So as we go through our Saturday, full sunshine, clouds will begin to approach probably after dark tonight and thicken up overnight. So tomorrow morning won't be nearly as cold as it has been this morning. A few snow showers early Sunday morning in the North Country with light accumulation, but our Sunday will be partly sunny with some peaks of sunshine and a lot of clouds moving through. Temperatures will be a bit milder as well. In many spots, at least in southern New Hampshire, climbing to near 40 degrees, which is crazy considering how cold it is this morning. As we go through our Monday, It'll be brighter with sunshine, temperatures seasonable in the 30s. And then on Tuesday, our next storm system approaches. Tuesday morning, we may even start with a little bit of sun, but then watch messy mix smooth through, especially in the afternoon and evening. Looking at snow north, maybe a wintry mix in between, and some rain south. Still, some changes could happen with this system, so stay tuned on that through the weekend and into early next week. But temperatures certainly have been cold the last couple of days. We'll get a little bump on Sunday into the 40s, and then pretty much right around the average, which is 35 degrees. And that's where we'll be through at least the early part of next week. Tuesday is an impact weather day because of the wintry mix. And then it gets colder again by Thursday and Friday with highs only in the 20s.
Okay, and there you go on that weather video from meteorologist Haley LaPointe. And the temp here in Deerfield, New Hampshire is just 1 degree. Brr, cold out there today. Don't need to go out. Stay inside. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's take a look at your events in New Hampshire and Boston area and the Maine area as well. The first event we're talking about, How It Works, 7:30 a.m. at the Hatbox Theater. New Hampshire/Vermont State Championship VEX Robotics Competition all day at Manchester Community College. Beginner Snowshoeing Adults, 9:30 a.m. at Prescott Farm Environmental Educational Center. Lamont Gallery presents Cut Up/Cut Out, 10 o'clock a.m. at Lamont Gallery. Intro to Swing Make a Tote Bag, 10 o'clock a.m. at Port City Marketplace Space. Author Greg Alger speaks at Union Defenders Day event, 10 o'clock a.m. at Pierce Menze. Arts Caf, 10 o'clock a.m. at Orchard Christian Fellowship. February Open Training, 10 o'clock a.m. at 83 Hanover Street. For the love of honey bees and pollinators, 10 o'clock a.m. at Griffin Free Public Library. And take a look at this cool event that happened last night in New Hampshire. Elliot Perry launches campaign to raise $121,000 for Chad Playground. Let's take a listen to that video.
Explore the world just like J.C. Marie Smith with the City Advantage Platinum Select card. With travel benefits at her fingertips, J.C. can fit right in at the center of the world's most vibrant spectacles. Experience more meaningful moments with the card built for your adventure.
Have the cake. We have the cake. We have the food.
Elliot Perry can't wait to take us on a tour of this year's spaghetti fundraiser, packing people into the Dairyfield Country Club in Manchester on Valentine's Day, giving from their hearts 1 month before the Chad Battle of the Badges hockey game. Elliot is teamed up with Manchester officer Kyle Daly to raise funds for Children's Hospital at Dartmouth.
They saved my life, and we want to be able to save other kids' lives.
Just to see from the doctors on down to everyone how they just make it so easy for the kids and the families to, when they're in time of need.
Now Elliot wants to give back even more, with his family announcing the 121 Club. He wants to raise $121,000 in 121 days. That's how long he spent at Chad when he was born a preemie. The money will be used to build 2 Chad playgrounds in Lebanon and Manchester.
This campaign that we're doing to build 2 playgrounds up at Chad just makes a patient experience better for children.
2 ways to help Chad kids. $121 donations toward the playgrounds and playing in the Battle of the Badges hockey game.
When should everyone go to SNHU Arena to see the Chad hockey game?
March 13th.
It's a Friday this year.
Yes.
At 7 p.m.
Yes.
See you there. In Manchester, Jean Mackin, WMUR, News 9.
Okay, and there you go. Very cool indeed. And now we're going to talk about some food. Let's talk about bourbon brisket sandwich. Let's take a look at that video from WMUR News 9, Cook's Corner. We love food here at the Riley King Network, as you know.
And Cook's Corner is on the road. Today we are in Salem at Barron's Major Brands, and we have with us Chef Pete from Stark Brewing Company.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
Good.
Smells so great in here. What are you making?
So, since we now make bourbon, we thought a bourbon brisket would be well paired with it on our new menu. So we offered a bourbon brisket sandwich that we make with our really good smoked brisket, which is phenomenal. And then what we do is we pile it really high. It's going to need the magic of TV here, so we pile it really high.
This is magical already.
And we add some cheddar cheese, and then we add bacon, and then we throw it back in the oven just for briefly melt the cheese.
Wow.
So what I do is kind of pile up the brisket first.
Absolutely.
Bacon second. You can never go wrong without bacon.
No, no.
And then I'm going to pile on a ton of cheddar cheese.
Look at
I'll
that.
throw it in the oven, add some barbecue sauce on it. This is bourbon mixed barbecue sauce too.
Made in-house.
Made in-house.
With your own bourbon.
With our own bourbon, which is phenomenal.
Fantastic.
And then, magic of TV, throw that in the oven, warm it up so the cheese melts.
Yeah.
Come out, we get a finished product with the melted cheese on it.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
And I like
Beautiful.
to pair that with our strawberry cheesecake, which, again, we'll top with some whipped cream, make it finish off.
A little bit of everything,
And
right?
since it's a nice dish, the bourbon goes really well with our John Stark Porter, one of our beers with 25 beers on top there. Bourbon, vodka, rum, all distilled right there in-house.
Now, what is it about this menu? Because, again, you have 25 beers on tap. You have a little something to go with everything, don't you?
So we're a brew pub. So it's pub food, which is, people hearty food. People love a lot of dishes. We're not very expensive, so it's a nice pairing. Most dishes are run between $10 and $14.
Yeah.
And so you can pair that nicely with a beer. If you come in at happy hour, 4 to 7, half-price beers, half-price appetizers. So it's a really good deal, and we got lots of events going on. Karaoke, open mic, salsa, poetry.
Oh, that keeps it fresh, doesn't it?
Yes.
A little experience for everybody. Now, for folks who have never been there, how do we find you?
We're in Manchester, right in the middle of Mill Yard. 500 Commercial Street. It's right underneath the Bridge Street Bridge. Plenty of parking, plenty of free parking. One of the best things we have there.
See? That's a guy who knows how to
Yes.
sell. Peter, thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
your
much.
time. We really appreciate
Awesome.
you. You can find this online if you missed it on air. Find it there. Stay tuned. We got much more coming up after the break.
Looks very yummy. We love food. And that does it for your New Hampshire Life segment. Now we're gonna switch gears and let's go into some healthy tips and lifestyle. How to give yourself self-care a month at a time in 2020. Let's take a listen to that video from Dr. Jennifer Ashton. There we go. Not Aniston. Ashton. Let's learn some tips, healthy tips.
One of the biggest trends in 2020 is self-care. Why is that? We need it, number one. Number two, if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others, and no one will really take the same kind of care of us that we can take for ourselves. It originated after I found myself at the hardest, darkest, most difficult part of my entire adult life. And I was really looking for a way to get myself out of that, both physically and mentally, behaviorally, spiritually, you name it. And so it started with a little challenge that I made with myself, which entailed going dry for the month of January. That challenge was so interesting and impactful to me that it kind of led to a second challenge and then a third challenge and so on and so forth. And as I embarked on these challenges, I noticed a couple things. Number one, the community aspect of it was huge. It was also truly an experiment in self because I did learn a lot about myself with each month, with each challenge. And over the course of the year, I did largely develop 12 new habits that do have the ability to impact health and wellness much more so in aggregate than they do individually. In the book, The Self-Care Challenge, I kind of divided the year up into challenges that were in a couple of different categories. Because I have a degree in nutrition, food or nutritional challenges were a big part of that. And it didn't always involve cutting something that may be harmful out. Sometimes it involved adding something that may be beneficial. So an example of that would be the Hydration Challenge month, where I challenge myself to drink more water. And then there are some behavioral challenges, anything from push-ups and planks to taking more steps in a given day. Meditation is a challenge, or mindfulness. And then there were a third category that involved other things. So mindful tech use, where I actually tried to pay more attention to my use of technology. It's hard for me as a doctor and a medical correspondent to go off the grid, but at least I tried to be more mindful of when I was using my phone and anything with a screen. Every challenge not only has why I wanted to do it and what my own experience was, what I learned, but tips for you and the science behind these challenges. The concept is that self-care goes way beyond the spa day, the staycation. That absolutely can be a part of it, but I look at self-care from a medical and social standpoint as things that we can do for ourselves that cost no money, that take only minutes, that really have the potential to have some impact on our health and wellness, i.e. the way we care for ourselves. I hope that this acts like a year-long template for people to turn that lens on themselves, see what they are doing, what they're not doing, what they can add, what they can modify, what they can subtract, and hopefully keep some of them at the end of the year as wellness self-care habits. Obviously, my life is not what your life will be like for a number of reasons, but I think we all have commonalities that we can share and learn from when it comes to self-care.
Okay, and there you go for some health tips and lifestyle tips there. And we're going to switch gears now. Let's go into entertainment news. Entertainment news. Your first look at Robert Pattinson in Batman costume. A new Batman movie coming our way. Next summer, though.
Oh God, I don't know. I'm trying to avoiding nicknames.
Robert Pattinson is our new Dark Knight. This is our first look of Pattinson as the Batman.
The whole ride's been really great. I mean, since I've just been incredibly lucky in my career and my life.
Director Matt Reeves tweeted a short camera test video featuring the Twilight star all suited up. This brief glimpse of Pattinson's jawline will have to do for now. The Batman is set to be released next summer.
Now, will you settle a debate for me? Are we doing our bats or are we doing Battinson? I need to know.
Oh God, I don't know. I'm trying to avoiding nicknames.
E.T. also asked Pattinson about facing off against Catwoman, who will be played by Zoe Kravitz.
We're so excited for the Batman. Zoe Kravitz coming at us as Catwoman. How worthy of an adversary is she? Were you a big fan of hers?
Yeah, Zoe's great, and I've known her for years and years and years. I mean, I've been friends with her for like 10 years, so it's she's brilliant.
Pattinson has also gotten the stamp of approval from fellow Bruce Wayne, Christian Bale.
Now here at TIFF, there are two Batmen here. We have Robert Pattinson here, and you're here as well.
All the best to him. You know, I think he's an absolutely fantastic actor. Wonderful choice for Batman.
Okay, there you go. We can't wait for next summer to see the new Batman movie. Very cool indeed. And now let's take a look at those celebrity birthdays for today. Let's see what celebrities are celebrating a birthday for today. And happy birthday to all of these celebrities. We hope they all have a wonderful birthday and a wonderful day today. And that does it for this Saturday edition of Good Morning New Hampshire. Thank you for watching this Saturday edition of Good Morning New Hampshire. I'll see you back here later on this evening for Good Evening New Hampshire. And stay warm out there since it's very cold outside. So try to stay warm. And talk to you all later. Bye, everyone.